Kim Ji-hyun stood at the window of the Lyris Council chamber and watched the stars. She had always loved those stars. For 300 years, her people had traveled among them, sharing their art and healing knowledge with anyone who asked. The Lyris never wanted much in return. They believed the galaxy was better when everyone helped each other. Now those same stars brought death. Ambassador Kim, the sensor readings are confirmed, said Council Leader Varys, his gentle voice shaking. The Kragath fleet will reach our system in 48 hours. Kim turned from the window. The council chamber, usually filled with music and poetry, now held only fear. 12 Lyris council members sat around the crystal table, their blue skin pale with worry. These were philosophers and artists, not warriors. They had never wanted to be warriors. How many ships? Kim asked, though she already knew the answer would be bad. 374 warships, Varys replied. Our defense fleet has only 63 vessels. Most are science ships we converted last month. Kim closed her eyes. 63 ships against 374. It was not a battle. It was an execution. The Kragath commander sent another message, said Council Member Doris. She activated the hologram. A massive creature appeared, covered in thick armor plating. The Kragath looked like they were born for war, because they were. Lyris Confederacy, the Kragath commander growled. You have refused the Empire's generous offer. You will submit to Kragath rule, or you will be removed. You have until we arrive to decide. Choose wisely. The hologram vanished. The council sat in silence. We could surrender, whispered Elder Morris. Perhaps they would let our children live. The Kragath do not let anyone live who defies them, Kim said quietly. You know this. The Thelian people surrendered. The Kragath made them slaves. Those who complained were killed, as examples. Then what choice do we have? Varys asked. We cannot fight them. We cannot run. Every colony world we have would be hunted down. Kim walked back to the window. We call for help. The Galactic Council, the Alliance of Free Worlds, the Consortium, anyone who will listen. We already sent messages to the Council, Doris said. They responded this morning. They said the Kragath Empire is too powerful. They said conflict with the Kragath would destabilize the entire sector. They said we should negotiate. Negotiate. Kim laughed. But there was no humor in it. What do we have that the Kragath want, except our surrender? The Alliance? Varys asked hopefully. Kim shook her head. I sent 7 messages to Alliance members. 3 responded. All said no. They will not risk war with the Kragath for us. The Consortium? The same. Everyone is afraid. The council sat in heavy silence. Outside the window, Lyris Prime looked beautiful. The cities glowed softly in the evening light. Gardens covered every building. Art decorated every street. Children played in the parks, not knowing that death was coming from the stars. I will try everyone, Kim said finally. Every species we have ever helped. Every government we have treaties with. Someone must have honor left in this galaxy. For 2 days, Kim sent messages. She called the Vorlands, who the Lyris had saved from plague. They said no. She called the Neseth Commonwealth, where Lyris doctors had worked for decades. They said no. She called the mighty Zelthar Dominion. They said they would send thoughts and prayers, but no ships. Every answer was the same. The Kragath were too strong. The risk was too great. The Lyris were on their own. In the Defense Command Center, Military Commander Lee Sung-ho studied the tactical displays. He was young, for a Lyris military commander, only 73 years old. He had never wanted this job. None of the Lyris wanted military jobs. But someone had to protect the children. We can position the fleet here, he told his officers, pointing to a spot near the 4th planet. We make them fight through the asteroid field. It will slow them down. For how long? Asked one of his officers. 3 days. Maybe 4, if we are lucky. And then? Lee looked at his officers. They all knew the answer. Then they would die. And the Kragoth would reach Lyris Prime unopposed. "We buy time for evacuation," Lee said. "Every hour we fight is another 1,000 children into the shelters. That is our mission." His officers nodded. They understood. They would not survive. But maybe some of the children would. Kim Ji-hyun sent her final message on the third day. Her hands shook as she recorded it. She had called every major power in the galaxy. She had begged. She had offered everything the Lyris had. No one came. There was one last contact in her database. Earth. The humans. A new species. Only on the galactic stage for 20 years. They had one colony world and a small fleet. Kim had met their ambassador at a conference once, a friendly woman named Ambassador Chen. "The humans seem nice," Ambassador Chen had said, smiling. "Earth is far from here. But humanity remembers its friends. If you ever need us, call." It had seemed like a polite thing to say. Every ambassador said things like that. Kim had not thought about it since. Now, with nowhere else to turn, Kim opened a channel to Earth's diplomatic frequency. She recorded her message. "This is Ambassador Kim Ji-hyun of the Lyris Confederacy. We are under attack by the Kragoth Empire. We sent calls to every major power in the galaxy. No one will help us. I remember Earth's ambassador said to call if we needed help. I know Earth is young and far away. I know you have your own people to protect. But if there is any chance, any possibility, we are begging. We have children here. Please." She sent the message into the void. Earth was 600 light-years away. Even with quantum communications, a response would take time. And what could the humans do, anyway? They were so new, so small. The Kragoth fleet arrived the next morning. Kim watched from the council chamber as the massive ships entered the system. So many ships. They blotted out the stars. "The defense fleet is moving to intercept," Varys reported. "Commander Lee says he will buy us as much time as he can." Kim nodded. On the screens, she could see the small Lyris ships moving toward the Kragoth fleet. It looked like children standing against a tsunami. The Kragoth commander's face appeared on every screen in the city. "Lyris Confederacy, your fleet is pitiful. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and we will turn your world to ash. You have 24 hours to decide." The transmission ended. In the streets, Lyris families held each other. Parents took their children underground to the shelters. Artists put away their instruments. Healers prepared medical stations they knew would not be enough. That night, Kim stood in the empty council chamber. No responses had come from anyone. Earth had not replied. The silence of the stars was complete. A young Lyris child, maybe 10 years old, found her there. The child's parents were helping with evacuations. "Ambassador Kim," the child asked, "did anyone answer our call? Is anyone coming to help us?" Kim knelt down and looked into the child's hopeful eyes. She wanted to lie. She wanted to give hope. But the Lyris valued truth above all things. "No, little one," Kim said softly. "No one is coming. We stand alone." The child nodded and walked away to find shelter. Kim turned back to the window and watched the Kragoth ships getting closer. Somewhere far away, the Lyris defense fleet was fighting and dying to buy a few more hours. The countdown to extinction had begun, and the galaxy had chosen to look away. Kim Ji-hyun closed her eyes and whispered a prayer to stars that did not answer. Commander Lee Sung-ho knew he was going to die today. That was acceptable. Death came for everyone, eventually. What mattered was buying enough time for the children to reach safety. "All ships, maintain formation," he ordered from the bridge of the Bright Hope. Around him, in the asteroid field, 62 other Lyris vessels waited. They were not warships. Not really. Most were exploration vessels fitted with whatever weapons the Lyris could build in 3 weeks. Against the Kragoth armada, they were nothing. "Sir, Kragoth fleet approaching at attack speed. reported Sensor Officer Min Seo. 374 vessels confirmed. They are not slowing down. Lee nodded. The Kragoth did not fear them. Why would they? When they reach weapons range, all ships attack pattern Delta. We hit them hard and scatter. Make them chase us through the asteroids. His crew prepared in silence. Most were scientists and explorers who had volunteered to fight. They knew this was suicide. They came anyway because Lyris children needed time. The Kragoth fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like an iron storm. Their ships were massive, covered in armor and weapons. At the center was the command dreadnought, 3 kilometers of pure destruction. "This is Kragoth Commander Vex," a voice boomed across all channels. "Lyris fleet, stand down. Your resistance is meaningless. We will destroy you in minutes." Lee opened a channel. "This is Commander Lee Sung-ho of the Lyris Defense Force. You want our world? Come take it." He cut the channel and turned to his crew. "For the children. For everyone back home. Today we show the galaxy that the Lyris do not surrender." "For the children," his crew shouted. The Lyris fleet charged. The battle was brief and brutal. Lyris ships darted between asteroids, firing everything they had. They destroyed 6 Kragoth vessels in the first attack. Then the Kragoth opened fire properly, and Lyris ships started dying. Lee watched 17 ships vanish in the first minute. Friends he had known for decades, gone in flashes of light. "Keep moving," he shouted. "Do not let them target you." The Bright Hope fired her main cannon at a Kragoth cruiser, punching through its shields. The cruiser exploded. Small victories against impossible odds. "Sir, 40 ships remaining," Min Seo reported. Her voice stayed calm, even as death filled the space around them. "Keep fighting. Every minute counts." The battle raged for 3 hours. The Lyris fought like they had never fought before. They used the asteroids for cover, lured Kragoth ships into traps, rammed damaged vessels into enemy formations. Commander Lee watched his fleet de-ship by ship, buying precious minutes. When only 7 Lyris ships remained, the Kragoth fleet regrouped and pushed forward toward Lyris Prime. Lee's ship was damaged, half his crew dead. But they had bought 3 hours and destroyed 19 enemy vessels. "All ships, fall back to Lyris Prime," Lee ordered. "We make our final stand there." On Lyris Prime, Kim Ji-hyun helped organize the evacuation. The underground shelters could hold 2 million people. Lyris Prime had 8 million citizens. "Get the children down first," she ordered. Then the elderly. Then anyone who can build and teach. Families said goodbye in the streets. Parents hugged their children and sent them underground, not knowing if they would ever see them again. The Lyris did not cry easily. But today, tears fell like rain. "Ambassador Kim," Varys called out. "The Galactic Council is holding an emergency session. They want us to address them." Kim felt anger burn in her chest. "Now they care? When we are hours from destruction? Perhaps they will help," Varys said hopefully. Kim knew better, but she connected to the council session anyway. The Galactic Council chamber appeared as a hologram. Representatives from 43 species sat in their seats of power. At the center sat High Chancellor Vorn of the mighty Zelthar Dominion. "Ambassador Kim," Vorn said formally, "the council has been monitoring your situation. We deeply regret the Kragoth aggression." "Then help us," Kim said. "Send ships. Send anything." Murmurs spread through the council. Chancellor Vorn raised his hand for silence. "The council has debated this extensively. While we sympathize with the Lyris plight, we cannot risk galactic stability. The Kragoth Empire controls 47 systems. War with them would cost millions of lives across multiple species." "We are Lyris lives," Kim shouted. "We matter too." "Of course you do," Vorn said smoothly. "Which is why we are preparing a strongly worded condemnation of Kragoth actions. We will also impose economic sanctions." Kim laughed bitterly. "Sanctions? My people will be dead in hours, And you offer us sanctions. We must think of the greater good, said the Nessith representative. The Lyris are not worth a galactic war. The words hit Kim like a physical blow. Not worth it. 8 million lives. Not worth it. I see, Kim said quietly. When the Kragoth finish with us, they will move to the next weak target. And you will abandon them too. And if you, one day, they will be strong enough that you cannot ignore them. I hope you remember this moment then. She cut the connection. Varys looked at her with sad eyes. No one is coming. No one is coming, Kim agreed. The Kragoth fleet entered orbit around Lyris Prime 6 hours later. The 7 surviving Lyris defense ships tried to stop them. Commander Lee's ship was destroyed in the first volley. The other 6 followed within minutes. Commander Vex's face appeared on every screen across Lyris Prime. Lyris Confederacy, your fleet is destroyed. You have no defenses. Surrender now and accept Kragoth rule. You have 24 hours. If you refuse, we will demonstrate our power by destroying your largest city. Then you will have 12 more hours to decide. If you still refuse, we will burn your world. Well, Chloe, the transmission ended. In the streets, the last citizens were rushing to the shelters. 4 million were safe underground. 4 million remained on the surface. Kim stood in the council chamber with Varys and the other council members. Should we surrender? Elder Morris asked. Perhaps if we submit, they will spare some of our people. They will make us slaves, Doris said. Our children will grow up in chains. But they will grow up, Morris replied. Is that not worth something? The council debated. Kim walked to the window and looked up at the Kragoth ships blocking out the sun. So many ships, so much power, and the galaxy had chosen to do nothing. A young aide approached her nervously. Now? Kim asked. She says it is important. Kim followed the aide to the evacuation center. A small Lyris girl stood there. Maybe 7 years old. She held a stuffed animal and looked up at Kim with big eyes. Ambassador Kim, you said no one was coming to help us. Kim knelt down. I am sorry, little one. I wish I could tell you different. But did everyone answer? Did anyone not respond at all? Kim thought about it. The major powers had all said no. The minor species had ignored her calls or sent regrets. But Earth did not respond. Kim said slowly. But Earth is very far away. And very small. They probably could not help, even if they wanted to. The child nodded seriously. My teacher says sometimes the smallest people do the biggest things. Maybe Earth is trying to come, and just cannot get here in time. Maybe, Kim said, not believing it. She hugged the child. Go to the shelter now. Be brave. The child left. Kim returned to the council chamber. On the screens, the countdown continued. 23 hours until the Kragoth demanded an answer. 23 hours until they started destroying cities. Kim Ji-hyun sat at the crystal table and put her head in her hands. The silence of the stars was complete. No one had answered. No one was coming. The Lyris would face extinction alone, and the galaxy would watch and do nothing. Outside the window, the Kragoth blockade tightened like a noose around their world. Somewhere in the city, a musician played a final song. Somewhere else, a parent whispered goodbye to a child through the shelter door. The last day of the Lyris Confederacy had begun, and hope had died with the stars. 3 hours remained until the Kragoth deadline. Kim Ji-hyun sat in the council chamber, writing her final message to the galaxy. She wanted someone to remember what happened here. Someone should know that the Lyris had existed, had been good people, and that no one came to help them. Ambassador, called out Censor Officer Park Yoon-ji, who was monitoring the planetary defense systems. I am detecting something at the edge of the system. Kim did not look up. More Kragoth ships? No. These are different signatures. Quantum jump signatures. Multiple contacts. Very large. Now Kim looked up. How many? Still counting. 20. No. 30 vessels. They are big. Really big. Varys moved to the sensor display. Could it be the Galactic Council? Did they change their minds? The signatures are wrong, Park said, her voice confused. These are not any known council ship types. Wait. I am getting identification codes now. The room fell silent. Park stared at her screen in disbelief. It cannot be right. The system must be malfunctioning. What does it say? Kim demanded. Park looked up, her face showing wonder and confusion. It says Earth. Earth Supreme Fleet. 47 vessels. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Varys laughed. A sound of pure disbelief. Earth? The humans? But they are 600 light-years away. They are so new to space. Kim ran to the sensor station. On the display, 47 large contacts were forming up at the edge of the system. As she watched, they began moving toward Lyris Prime, at combat speed. Open a channel, Kim said. All frequencies. A human face appeared on the main screen. He wore a military uniform with 4 stars on his collar. His face was tired, but determined. His name tag read, Admiral Park Min-jun, Earth Supreme Fleet, Lyris Confederacy. This is Admiral Park Min-jun of the Earth Supreme Fleet. I apologize that we are late. Your message took time to reach us, and we had to travel far. But you called for help, and humans answer when friends need us. Kim could not speak. She tried, but no words came out. Tears ran down her face. Admiral Park continued. We know about the Kragoth blockade. We know about their deadline. We are here to help. Where do you need us? You came, Kim whispered. You actually came. You asked, Park said simply. That was enough. On the Kragoth Command Dreadnought, Commander Vex watched the Earth fleet approach with amusement. 47 ships against his 355? The humans must be insane. What species is this? He asked his intelligence officer. Earth, Commander. Humans. They joined the galactic community only 20 years ago. They have 1 colony world and a small fleet. They are considered primitives. Vex laughed. Primitives coming to save the Lyris? This will be entertaining. Prepare weapons. We will destroy them as an example before we finish the Lyris. The Kragoth fleet turned to face the approaching Earth ships. Vex opened a general channel. Human fleet. This is Commander Vex of the Kragoth Empire. You are interfering in Imperial business. Turn back now or be destroyed. Admiral Park's face appeared on Vex's screen. The human looked directly at him, with hard eyes. Commander Vex, this is Admiral Park Min-jun. The Lyris Confederacy is under Earth's protection. You will withdraw your fleet from this system immediately. This is your only warning. Vex roared with laughter. Your only warning? Primitive. I have 355 warships. You have 47. Do you understand mathematics? I understand that you are threatening peaceful people who called for help. Park replied. I understand that you think might makes right, and I understand that you are about to learn why humans do not abandon their friends. Brave words from a dead man, Vex said. All ships. Destroy the human fleet. Park turned to someone off-screen. They made their choice. All ships. Engage. Show them what Earth is capable of. The Earth Supreme Fleet accelerated to attack speed. On Lyris Prime, millions of people watched the screens as the 2 fleets closed. The Earth ships moved in tight formations, coordinating perfectly. They were smaller than the Kragoth dreadnoughts, but moved with purpose and precision. They are going to die for us, Varys whispered. They crossed 600 light-years, and they are going to die. Maybe, Kim said. But they came. They actually came. The 2 fleets collided in a storm of fire. The Kragoth opened fire first, launching missiles and energy beams. The Earth ships scattered into complex attack patterns. Their shields flared under the impacts. But they kept coming. Then the Earth fleet returned fire. The Kragoth had never seen weapons like this. The human ships fired kinetic accelerators that punched through Kragoth shields like they were paper. Missile swarms split into dozens of smaller warheads, overwhelming point defenses. Energy weapons cut through armor plating with terrifying efficiency. 3 Kragoth cruisers exploded in the first 30 seconds. "What is this?" Vex shouted. "How do primitives have such weapons?" His intelligence officer checked frantically. "Sir, humans come from a death world. Gravity is higher than standard. Their weapons are designed for their harsh environment. They are much more powerful than we anticipated. Then increase firepower. Crush them." The Kragoth fleet pressed forward. They still outnumbered the humans 7-1. Numbers had to count for something. But the Earth fleet fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They did not fight like civilized species who followed the rules of war. They fought like predators. A human destroyer lost its shields, and instead of retreating, it accelerated forward and rammed a Kragoth battlecruiser. Both ships exploded. "They rammed us!" a Kragoth captain screamed. "They just rammed us! Who does that?" Another Earth ship moved in close, too close for proper combat. It fired point-blank broadsides into a Kragoth dreadnought's command section. The dreadnought went dark. Human fighters swarmed around larger Kragoth ships, targeting weapons and engines with surgical precision. When Kragoth Marines tried to board a damaged Earth cruiser, human Marines met them in hand-to-hand combat. The Kragoth Marines retreated in terror, reporting that humans fought with knives and fists and seemed to enjoy it. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the ESFS Indomitable, watching the tactical display. His fleet was taking damage, but they were winning. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency. "Admiral, the Kragoth command ship is attempting to withdraw," reported Tactical Officer Kim Jae-sung. "Do not let it escape," Park ordered. "Commander Choi Sung-min, take your Marines and board that ship. I want their commander alive if possible." "Yes, sir." The assault ship Valkyrie broke from formation and accelerated toward the Kragoth dreadnought. Kragoth point defense fired desperately, but the Valkyrie's armor held. The ship attached to the dreadnought's hull like a parasite. Inside, Commander Choi Sung-min led 200 Marines into the breach. The Kragoth had never fought humans up close. They were unprepared for what happened next. Humans in powered armor moved through the corridors like a tsunami. They used tactics that shocked the Kragoth defenders. They used grenades in close quarters. They fought in zero gravity, without hesitation. They moved as coordinated teams that seemed to read each other's minds. When Kragoth soldiers saw humans coming, many surrendered immediately. Those who fought learned that humans were stronger, faster, and more aggressive than any species should be. Commander Choi reached the bridge in 12 minutes. Commander Vex stood there, surrounded by the last of his guards. "Surrender," Choi said, his rifle aimed at Vex's head. Vex looked at the human in disbelief. This small species, these primitives, had destroyed his fleet. Impossible. Unthinkable. "We outnumbered you 7-1, Vex said. "Yes," Choi agreed. "But you were fighting humans. We do not lose when friends need us." Vex lowered his weapons. Around him, his guards did the same. On the Indomitable, Admiral Park received the report and smiled. "Commander Choi has secured the Kragoth command ship. Total enemy losses: 54 vessels destroyed or captured. The rest are retreating." His bridge crew cheered. They had won. Kim Jae-sung looked at the casualty reports and his smile faded. "Admiral, our losses: 12 ships destroyed, thousands of casualties." Park nodded slowly. The price was high, but the Lyris lived. That was what mattered. He opened a channel to the fleeing Kragoth ships. "Kragoth Empire. This is Admiral Park. Tell your leaders that the Lyris Confederacy is under Earth's protection. Tell them that Earth keeps its promises. Tell them that humanity will cross any distance, fight any battle, to protect our friends. Now get out of this system, and do not come back." The Kragoth fleet jumped to faster than light speed and fled. Park then opened a channel to Lyris Prime. Kim Ji-hyun's face appeared, tears streaming down her face. Admiral Park, I do not know what to say. You saved us. You lost 12 ships and thousands of your people to save us. You called for help, Ambassador Kim, Park said gently. That made you our responsibility. On Earth, we have a saying. Leave no one behind. You needed us. So we came. All across Lyris Prime, people emerged from shelters to see the stars again. The Kragoth blockade was gone. Above their world, Earth ships stood guard, damaged but victorious. In the streets, Lyris people looked up at those ships and wept. Someone had come. Someone had actually come. Kim Ji-hyun stood at her window and watched the Earth fleet. 47 ships had crossed 600 light-years because she had asked for help. 12 had died to save her people. Thank you, she whispered to the stars that had finally answered. Thank you. The Earth's Supreme Fleet hung in orbit above Lyris Prime, like wounded guardians. 12 ships were gone, turned to debris and memories. The remaining 35 vessels showed the scars of battle. Hull breaches, burned armor, damaged weapons systems. On the medical decks, doctors worked to save the wounded, while others prepared the dead for their final journey home. Admiral Park Min-jun stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and looked at the casualty reports. 3,217 humans had died today. 3,217 people who had left Earth, knowing they might never return, but came anyway because it was right. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council, reported Communications Officer Lee Min-ho. High Chancellor Vorn is requesting to speak with you. Park wanted to ignore it. The Council had abandoned the Lyris. They did not deserve his time. But duty required him to listen. Put him through. High Chancellor Vorn appeared on the screen. The Zelthar leader looked disturbed, his crystalline features showing what might have been concern. Admiral Park, I am watching the battle reports with great alarm. Your fleet engaged the Kragoth Empire without Council authorization. This is a serious violation of galactic protocols. Park stared at him coldly. The Lyris called for help. The Council did nothing. We answered. The Council must consider the greater good, Vorn said. Your actions may have started a war that could consume the entire sector. The Kragoth will want revenge. Then they should not have threatened peaceful people, Park replied. The Lyris asked every major power for help. Everyone said no. Everyone chose politics over lives. We chose differently. You lost 12 ships. Thousands of your people. For what? For a species you barely know? Park leaned forward. For people who needed help. That is enough. On Earth, we believe that how you treat others when they are weak says everything about who you are. The Council failed that test. The Kragoth failed that test. Earth passed it. Your primitive morality will get you killed, Vorn said angrily. Our morality means we can sleep at night, Park shot back. Can you say the same, Chancellor? When the Lyris were dying, you debated. You wrote condemnations. You did nothing that mattered. How do you sleep, knowing you abandoned them? Vorn had no answer. The channel went silent. We will convene an emergency council session, Vorn said finally. Your actions will have consequences. So will yours, Park said. The galaxy is watching. They saw you abandon the Lyris. They saw Earth come to help. They will remember. He cut the connection. Commander Choi Sung-min brought Commander Vex to the Indomitable Underguard. The Kragoth commander looked small now, stripped of his armor and authority. He stood in the conference room, surrounded by human marines. You destroyed my fleet, Vex said. His voice mixed anger and disbelief. We outnumbered you. We had superior position. How did primitives defeat us? Park studied him. You keep calling us primitives. That was your first mistake. You saw that we are new to the galaxy and assumed we were weak. You have only been in space for decades. We have been a star-faring empire for thousands of years. And in those thousands of years, you forgot what it means to fight for something that matters, Park said. Your soldiers fight because they are ordered to. Ours fight because they believe in protecting others. That makes all the difference. Philosophy will not win wars, Vex growled. We just won one, Choi pointed out. With worse odds. Using ships you called primitive. Maybe you should reconsider your assumptions. Park walked to the window. Below, Lyris Prime glowed peacefully. Commander Vex, you will be returned to the Kragoth Empire with a message. The Lyris Confederacy is under Earth's protection now. Any attack on them is an attack on us. Earth will defend them with everything we have. Tell your empire that humans do not make idle threats. We crossed 600 light-years to help people we barely know. Imagine what we will do for confirmed enemies. The Kragoth Empire will not forget this insult, Vex said. Good. Park replied. We want you to remember. Remember that humanity keeps its word. Remember that we protect our friends. Remember that picking fights with humans is a very bad idea. Now get off my ship. Marines escorted Vex away. Choi remained with Park. Do you think the Kragoth will try again? Choi asked. Eventually. They are predators. They will test us. But not soon. We hurt them badly today. They need time to recover. Time for us to make the Lyris stronger. On Lyris Prime, Kim Ji-hyun walked through the streets with Admiral Park. Everywhere they went, Lyris people came out to see them. Children offered flowers. Adults bowed in respect. Some simply touched Park's hand and whispered thanks. This is overwhelming, Park said quietly. We just did what anyone should do. But no one else did, Kim replied. Every major power in the galaxy said no. They reached the memorial gardens where the Lyris were building a monument. It would honor the human ships that had died protecting them. 12 stone pillars, one for each lost vessel, with the names of every human who had fallen carved into them. 3,217 people, Kim said, reading the names. They did not know us. They had never met us. But they came anyway, and gave their lives. Why? Park looked at the names. Each one represented someone with family back on Earth. Someone with dreams, and hopes, and plans for the future. All gone now. Because it was right, he said simply. Because when someone calls for help, and you can answer, you have a responsibility to try. Because humans believe that everyone deserves a chance to live in peace. The galaxy does not work that way, Kim said sadly. The strong take from the weak. That is how it has always been. Then maybe it is time for that to change. Park turned to face her. Ambassador Kim, Earth wants to propose an alliance. A real one. Not just words on paper. We will help you rebuild your defense fleet. We will share technology and training. In return, we ask that the Lyris share their knowledge of medicine and culture. Together, we can be stronger. Kim felt tears in her eyes again. You would do that? After everything you have already given? Friends help each other, Park said. That is what friendship means. That evening, the Galactic Council held its emergency session. Representatives from 43 species gathered to discuss Earth's actions. Kim Ji-hyun and Admiral Park attended via hologram. High Chancellor Vorn called the session to order. We are here to address the human intervention in the Lyris situation. Admiral Park, your fleet engaged in unauthorized military action against the Kragoth Empire. This violated multiple treaties and protocols. What do you have to say? Park stood calmly. I say that while the council debated and wrote condemnations, 8 million Lyris people were hours from death. We acted because no one else would. You had no authority, shouted the Nesseth representative. The council must approve all military interventions. The council had its chance. Park replied. Ambassador Kim called for help. The Council said no. So did the Alliance. So did every major power. The Lyris were abandoned. We chose not to abandon them. Your actions may have started a galactic war, Vorn argued. Your inaction would have guaranteed genocide, Park shot back. 8 million people would be dead or enslaved. Instead, they are free. Yes. We lost ships and people. Yes. It was dangerous. But it was right. And I would make the same choice again. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some species condemned Earth's recklessness. Others stayed quiet, thoughtful. Then Ambassador Kim Ji-hyun spoke. Her voice cut through the noise. I want every species here to understand something. When we were dying, we called you first. We begged the mighty Zelthar Dominion. We pleaded with the powerful Alliance. We asked everyone for help. And everyone said no. Everyone. Except Earth. She turned to look directly at Vorn. The humans crossed 600 light-years because we asked. They lost 12 ships and thousands of their people to save us. They gave everything while you gave nothing. So when you condemn them for acting without permission, remember that you gave them no choice. You abandoned us. They saved us. History will remember who did what. Silence fell across the council chamber. Finally, an unexpected voice spoke. The representative from the Kijar Collective, a small species that had said nothing during the original debate, stood up. I have been listening to this discussion with interest. The Council condemns Earth for breaking protocols. But I think Earth has exposed something we do not want to admit. When the weak call for help, the powerful do nothing. We hide behind politics and protocols while good people die. Earth showed us what real courage looks like. They showed us what honor means. Perhaps instead of condemning them, we should be ashamed of ourselves. More voices joined in. Smaller species, ones without much power in the council, spoke up in support of Earth. Larger species shifted uncomfortably. Admiral Park watched it all and understood. The galaxy was changing. Earth had shown that the old ways did not have to continue. Other species were starting to question why the strong did nothing to help the weak. The session ended with no consensus. The council could not agree whether to condemn or praise Earth. But Park did not care about their opinion. He cared about results. As the hologram faded, Choi approached him. Admiral, we are receiving messages from other species. Small ones, mostly. They are asking if Earth would consider alliances with them too. Park smiled. What kind of alliances? Mutual defense, technology sharing, cultural exchange. They saw what we did for the Lyris. They want to know if we would do the same for them. How many species? 17 so far. The number keeps growing. Park looked out at the stars. Earth had come to the galaxy as newcomers, dismissed as primitives. In one day, everything changed. By keeping their word, by refusing to abandon friends, humanity had shown the galaxy something it had forgotten. Some things mattered more than politics. Some things mattered more than safety. Some things were worth fighting for. Tell them yes, Park said. If they need help, Earth will answer. That is what we do. 6 weeks after the battle, the Earth Supreme Fleet prepared to depart from Lyris Prime. The damaged ships had been repaired as much as possible. The dead had been honored in ceremonies that brought both species to tears. Now, it was time for the fleet to return home. Admiral Park Min-jun stood in the Lyris Council chamber one final time. The room was different now. Where fear and despair had lived, hope had taken root. The Lyris moved with purpose again, rebuilding their world and their future. The repairs are complete, Varys reported. Your ships are ready for the journey home. We cannot thank you enough for everything you have done. You saved our people. You stayed to help us rebuild. You gave us hope. Park shook his head. We did what friends do. The Lyris would have done the same for us. We would. Kim Ji-hyun agreed. She stood beside Park, looking healthier than she had in weeks. The weight of despair had lifted from her shoulders. And we will. Earth will always have friends here. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, call us. We will answer. Just like we answered when you called, Park said with a slight smile. Exactly like that. The doors to the chamber opened, and a group of Lyris children entered, led by teachers. They carried something covered by a cloth. The same young girl who had asked Kim if anyone was coming weeks ago stepped forward. Admiral Park, we made something for you, the child said. To remember us when you go home. She pulled the cloth away. Underneath was a beautiful crystal sculpture showing the Earth fleet arriving above Lyris Prime. Every ship was detailed perfectly. Light seemed to glow from within the crystal, making the ships shine like stars. It is beautiful, Park said, kneeling down to the child's level. Thank you. We will display it on Earth so everyone can see it. Will you really remember us? The child asked. Or will you forget about the Lyris when you are back home? Park put his hand on the child's shoulder. I will never forget you. None of us will. You called for help when you needed it most. And that made you family. Humans do not forget family. The child hugged him. Park hugged back, feeling the weight of responsibility that came with friendship. Later that day, Park walked through the streets of Lyris Prime with Commander Choi. Everywhere they went, construction was happening. Buildings were being repaired. New defense platforms were being built using technology Earth had shared. Lyris engineers and human engineers worked side by side, learning from each other. It is strange, Choi said. 6 weeks ago, no one in the galaxy knew much about Earth. Now everyone is watching us. Not all of it is friendly, Park noted. The Kragath Empire formally protested our actions. 3 of their allied species cut diplomatic relations with us. The Zelthar Dominion is pressuring the Council to impose sanctions. But 17 smaller species signed alliance treaties with us, Choi countered. And more are asking. The ones the major powers usually ignore, Park nodded. That was the interesting part. Earth's intervention had not made them friends with the powerful. It had made them friends with the forgotten. Species that had lived in fear of larger neighbors were reaching out to Earth, hoping for the same protection the Lyris received. We cannot protect everyone, Park said. Our fleet is not big enough. So we get bigger, Choi replied. Earth is already building more ships. The new alliances mean we share technology and resources. In 5 years, we will be much stronger, and we will have more friends who depend on us. Is that a bad thing? Park thought about it. No, but it is a big responsibility. Every species we promise to protect is another commitment we have to keep. Then we keep them, Choi said simply. That is what humans do. On the Kragoth homeworld, Emperor Krath reviewed the reports from the Lyris battle with growing anger. His fleet had been humiliated. 54 ships destroyed or captured by an inferior force. The entire empire looked weak. Humans, he growled. Primitives who barely learned to travel faster than light. They dare to challenge us? His military advisor, General Thex, stood at attention. My emperor. The humans are more dangerous than we thought. They come from a high-gravity death world. Their weapons are powerful. Their tactics are aggressive. They fight without fear. Everyone fights without fear until they face real consequences, Krath said. We will teach these humans their place. Prepare a fleet. 10 times larger than what we sent to Lyris. We will crush them and take their colony world. My emperor. I must advise caution. The humans have formed alliances with 17 species now. If we attack them directly, we may face a coalition. On round. Those species are weak. We could defeat them all. Perhaps, Thex said carefully. But the cost would be high, and other powers are watching. The Council is unstable. If we start a major war, the Zelthar or the Alliance might take advantage of our distraction. Krath slammed his fist on the table. So we do nothing? We let these primitives make fools of us? We wait, Thex said. We watch. We learn about them. Then, when the time is right, and we truly understand what we face, we act decisively. Underestimating the humans is what cost us at Lyris. Krath hated it, but the advice was sound. Fine. But I want intelligence on everything about Earth. Their strengths, their weaknesses, their capabilities. When we move against them, I want to be certain of victory. End quote. On Earth, in the capital city of Geneva, the World Council met to discuss the new galactic situation. President Williams addressed the assembled representatives from every nation. The Supreme Fleet's victory at Lyris has changed everything. We are no longer an insignificant newcomer to the galaxy. We are now seen as a protector of smaller species. 17 alliance treaties in 6 weeks. That number will grow. Can we support that many alliances? Asked the representative from the Asian coalition. Our resources are limited, which is why these alliances include technology sharing, replied Ambassador Chen, who had returned from her diplomatic mission. The Lyris are teaching us their medical techniques. The Kikshar are sharing their navigation technology. The Morian collective has mining expertise we lack. These are partnerships, not charity cases. But military commitments, pressed the European Union representative. If any of our allies are attacked, we are obligated to defend them. That could mean war with much larger powers. President Williams nodded. It could. But consider the alternative. We could withdraw, refuse new alliances, focus only on Earth. Then what happens when someone like the Kragath decides Earth looks like an easy target? Who would help us? We would be alone. Just like the Lyris were. The Lyris had us, said the African Union representative, because we believed in helping them. Exactly, Williams said. We built goodwill. We showed the galaxy that Earth keeps its word. Now, smaller species trust us. They want to stand with us. Together, we can be strong enough that even the major powers think twice about threatening any of us. It is still risky, the Asian coalition representative said. Everything worth doing is risky, Admiral Park said. He had returned to Earth for this meeting. We risked everything at Lyris. We lost 12 ships and thousands of good people. But we saved 8 million lives and made 17 allies. That was worth it, the Council voted. The decision was close, but ultimately, Earth committed to honoring all alliance treaties and remaining open to new partnerships based on shared values. 3 months after the battle, Kim Ji-hyun visited Earth for the first time. She came as the official Lyris ambassador and as a friend. The World Council held a formal reception in her honor. Ambassador Kim, on behalf of Earth, welcome, President Williams said. We are honored to host you. The honor is mine, Kim replied. I come bearing gifts from my people and a message of eternal friendship. She presented a data crystal containing the complete Lyris medical database, accumulated over 300 years. It included treatments for diseases Earth had never encountered and techniques that could save millions of human lives. This is too generous, Williams protested. We cannot accept such a valuable gift. You gave us our lives, Kim said simply. This is a small repayment. Besides, friends share knowledge. That is what you taught us. That evening, Kim walked through the streets of Geneva with Admiral Park. She marveled at Earth's architecture, its bustling energy, the diversity of its people. Your world is beautiful, she said. So full of life and energy. I can see why humans fight so hard to protect what they care about. Every world is beautiful to those who love it, Park replied. The Lyris Prime is beautiful too. Different, but equally precious. They reached a memorial that Earth had built. 12 stone pillars stood in a garden, each representing one of the ships lost at Lyris. The names of the fallen were carved into black marble. We built the same memorial on Lyris Prime, Kim said quietly. So both our peoples will remember the sacrifice. They will be remembered, Park agreed. Their families know they died for something that mattered. That gives meaning to the loss. Afterward, a young human child, maybe 9 years old, approached them shyly. She held a flower. "Excuse me, are you Admiral Park?" the child asked. "I am. My aunt died on the Valiant. She was an engineer." Park knelt down. "Your aunt was a hero. She helped save 8 million people. The Lyris will remember her forever. Way, 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 tin, way." The child placed the flower at the base of the memorial. Kim watched with tears in her eyes. "This is why you won," she said to Park. "Not because your weapons were better or your tactics smarter. You won because every human who fought believed in something bigger than themselves. They believed in protecting others. That kind of belief cannot be defeated." 6 months after the battle, the galaxy had changed in ways no one predicted. Earth had gone from obscure newcomer to a significant political force. The coalition of smaller species allied with Earth now numbered 23 members. They called themselves the Concordat of Free Peoples. The major powers watched nervously. This new coalition was not strong enough to challenge them directly, but it was strong enough to complicate their plans. Species that used to be easy targets now had protection. The balance of power was shifting. In the Galactic Council, High Chancellor Vorn faced increasing criticism. Smaller species questioned why the Council had abandoned the Lyris. Some threatened to leave the Council entirely and join Earth's Concordat. "This is all because of the humans," Vorn complained to his advisors. "They have disrupted the entire galactic order. They exposed weaknesses in the order." One advisor corrected. "We relied on might making right. Earth showed there is another way. People are listening." Works, 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 works. On Lyris Prime, the transformation was remarkable. With Earth's help, the Lyris had built a real defense fleet. Ships that could fight, not just explore. They had learned that sometimes peace required the strength to defend it, but they had not lost their essential nature. The Lyris still valued art and beauty and healing. They just added strength to those values. Commander Lee Sung-ho, who had survived the original battle in an escape pod, now led the new Lyris Defense Force. He trained alongside human officers, learning tactics and strategy. His ships patrolled the system, ensuring no one would threaten his people again. "We are not warriors by nature," Lee said to his human counterpart, Commander Choi. "But we have learned that sometimes you must be able to fight to protect what you love. The best warriors are those who fight for something beyond themselves," Choi replied. "You are becoming very good warriors." 1 year after the battle, Admiral Park returned to Lyris Prime for the anniversary memorial. Both species gathered to remember the day everything changed. Kim Ji-hyun stood before the crowd and spoke. "1 year ago, we thought we would die. We called for help, and the galaxy turned away. Everyone except Earth. The humans came 600 light-years because we asked. They lost ships and people to save us. They taught us that courage matters, that promises should be kept, that friendship is more than just words." She turned to Park. "Admiral, you said that humans answer when friends need them. You proved it. The Lyris will never forget, and we will do the same for others. That is the gift you gave us. Not just survival, but the example of how to live." Park stepped forward and addressed both species. 1 year ago, Earth made a choice. We chose to help people who needed us. That choice cost us, but it also gave us something precious. It gave us friends across the galaxy. It showed us, and everyone else, that the old way of doing things can change. The strong can protect the weak. Friends can stand together. Honor still matters. He looked up at the stars. The galaxy is watching Earth now. Some with friendship, some with suspicion, some with fear. But they are all watching. We showed them something they had forgotten or never known. We showed them that humans keep their word. A Lyris child, the same one who had asked if anyone was coming, stepped forward with a human child. Together, they unveiled a new monument. It showed a human and a Lyris standing side by side, looking toward the stars. The inscription read, "They thought no one would come, but Earth answered, and the galaxy changed forever." Admiral Park looked at that monument and smiled. 1 year ago, Earth had been unknown. Now, they were building something new. A coalition based on mutual respect and shared values. A group of species who believed in protecting each other. It would not be easy. The Kragoth still wanted revenge. The major powers still schemed. Challenges waited in the darkness between stars. But Earth was not alone anymore. And neither was anyone in the Concordat. They stood together now, united by the simple belief that when someone calls for help, you answer. That was the human way. And it was changing the galaxy, one friend at a time.